Now, as we've been reporting this morning, thousands of people are protesting in Belgrade against the arrest of Ratko Mladic. The former Bosnian Serb army chief is set to face trial at the International Criminal Court, and he started proceedings by denying that he ordered the 1995 Srebrenica massacre.
Human rights lawyer Geoffrey Robertson has written an editorial for the London Independent newspaper, reprinted here in Fairfax Papers, saying there are certain mistakes that must be avoided during Mladic's trial. He joins us now from London via webcam. Geoffrey Robertson, good morning. Good to talk to you again.
Good morning.
You seem to be flagging fears that justice won't be done or be seen to be done in this trial, that there's a chance that might happen. What are your specific concerns?
Well, if lessons are learnt from Milosevic, it won't be. The absurdity of Milosevic, who was the prosecution, took 3 years because it tried to charge him with 3 different wars over a period of 10 years. The judges and prosecutors thought they were writing history, not deciding a very serious criminal case. Now, with Mladic, they do have an indictment, and again, it's long and it covers all the Balkan wars. What they've got to do is slim it down and have just one charge, the charge of Srebrenica, in which he killed 7,000 men and boys. It was the worst atrocity relating to prisoners since the Japanese death marches of Australians, particularly at the end of the Second World War. So they've got to concentrate on that, and they've got to do it quickly so that he doesn't die or plead insanity. There have been too many people let off. We all remember General Pinochet being let off, waving his crutches as he landed in Chile safe because of bogus medical reports. The Lockerbie bomber was allowed back to Libya, where he's probably now taking pot shots at NATO fighters. He was said to die in 3 months, and that was 2 years ago. So Mladic is 69 in bad health, and the prosecutors have to not only make justice be seen to be done, they've got to do it a whole lot better than it was done in Milosevic's case.
So, Geoffrey Robertson, what are the chances then, if you're saying that these indictments are, as you describe in your piece today, overloaded, what are the chances they'll actually be slimmed down, or are they now stuck with these indictments as they're written?
No, they can slim down the indictments. The court has to take control. The problem is to get judges who are used to an adversary trial. So many, unfortunately, of international judges have been from European countries and have been reluctant to act or have bent over backwards to be fair to the defendant. They've lacked confidence. I think international justice is now entering a phase of confidence. We've got Charles Taylor's verdict about to come down. We've got Karadzic on trial. Gotovina, very importantly, was convicted, the Croatian fugitive general, much to the annoyance of Croats. There have been demonstrations in Sydney about him. Well, they should appeal. But there you are. We're entering a stronger phase, and I think if Mladic tries to do a Milosevic and disrupt the court to defend himself and waste time, then I think they will have to impose counsel on him, whether he likes it or not.
Well, so, I think that's an interesting observation you make there, just to jump in there, because I did want to ask you whether you thought the problem with perhaps these slow and unwieldy trials that we've had is with the court itself at The Hague, or whether these kinds of trials have developed over the years. Is there a fundamental problem with the way that court is constituted, in your view?
Well, you've got to remember that there's no fundamental problem. Nuremberg, 23 Nazi leaders were convicted within 12 months, all in the same trial.
Yeah, that'd be seen these days as pretty summary execution, wouldn't it, though?
No, I think, of course, we've improved. We've had more disclosure rights, there are appeal rights and so on. So I think you've got to give sensibly 18 months for any particular trial. But if the indictment is slimmed down, then there's no reason why it can't go ahead. And this is really the final trial of the Serbian. One wants Serbia to do a lot more. There are people who are almost as guilty, although he was the commander-in-chief who undoubtedly gave the orders. I don't think a lot of those Serb soldiers would have killed those innocent men and boys, 7,000 of them, if it hadn't been for the Serb Orthodox priests who blessed them. And in my view, they should be rounded up and jailed for a very long time. We're very reluctant sometimes to get into the churches or the religious, but there is no doubt that the Serb Orthodox Church has been rotten with a vicious nationalism. It's given sanctuary to Karadzic and Mladic at various times in their fugitive period, and the fact that their so-called men of God shouldn't protect them from prosecution, because actually they incited the various battalions of death squads. And I think the trial will also raise the issue of a wider issue of keeping the peace where there's no peace to keep. I mean, the UN put in a Dutch battalion, which was just a very cowardly battalion. They surrendered immediately to Mladic and drank brandy while he carried boys and men off to the death squads.
Yes, although some do argue that they weren't actually given a mandate that allowed them to do more than that, and they were under extraordinary pressure. But can we just leave that to one side, because time is tight this morning? I did just want to get a final observation from you, just quickly if I can. Do you have a view on the increasingly persuasive view now that Mladic's capture, so-called, was actually an entirely stage-managed event?
Well, there are conspiracy theories always. There was the conspiracy theory about bin Laden. The Pakistani government was protecting him. In fact, he was put in he was seeking refuge next to a military academy, the last place people would look. In Mladic's case, he was undoubtedly getting protected by Serb Orthodox Church. He was protected by his old mates in the Yugoslav military, and he was protected by the government until about 2 years ago, when a change of government, and they started to look for him seriously. So I don't think there was an actual agreement. I think his capture was inevitable once they started to look for him seriously, and it was fortuitous, and it will certainly assist Serbia's integration into the European community. And I think that the very, very few people, a couple of thousand, have been demonstrating today, and I think there's a much greater acceptance of the court now that Gotovina has been convicted, and the Serbs, most of them, no longer have a sense that it's anti-Serbian and pro-Croatian.
Geoffrey Robertson, always good to talk to you. Thanks so much.